Have you had occasion to delve into what has happened in Sri Lanka with regard to their food security? They made a sudden switch, according to experts, to organic farming, and their yields have dropped drastically, and that's contributing to a very significant socio-economic and also political crisis in that island nation. And the reason, therefore, the point that I really want to ask you is, does Sri Lanka hold an example of how you should not suddenly switch gears, and even if you have to transit towards more responsible farming, it should be done in a very careful manner?
I think the way you ask the question is actually the answer, in the sense that we're about to go through a significant food systems transformation. We went through a digital transformation over many years. We've now, for the last decade, been in an energy transformation. I think we're just starting to enter into a significant and large food system transformation. If we make sudden and large knee-jerk reactions one way or the other, this will be detrimental to the system. And I think what we now need to do is say, okay, it's going to take 3 or 4 years maybe to change the way in which agricultural practices are done. How do we bridge that so that the farmer doesn't carry the whole cost burden? How do we build incentives in from government and change the way in which incentives are done so farmers are being rewarded for these changed practices? How do we change market demand in a way that consumers are incentivized for buying those products that will actually make the food system better overall? But we shouldn't, this is a transformation. It's not just turning on a switch and changing systems overnight.
A broader question, Sean, the global trade order, the World Trade Organization, and it hasn't really delivered, in my own personal view, on some of the points that had been discussed with regard to agriculture, with the farm sector. And now we see that the WTO isn't really moving ahead, and countries are choosing bilateral as well as multilateral groupings for various different reasons. From that perspective, because I believe that capitalism and a new world trade order actually helped in delivering global food surpluses. Ideologies cannot do that. Do you think there's a broader trade policy aspect also with regard to food security, because we haven't seen enough progress on tariff elimination, for example, or much fairer access for products from developing countries like India into Europe or US when it comes to farm products?
I think we're going to have to look at that whole basket of incentives. We need to think, are we incentivizing the right things?
Okay.
That will get us to where we need to be, say, in the next 10 years. And are we paying and costing in the right things for food? At the moment, what we pay for in the supermarket is actually costing society maybe 2 or 3 times more than that. And so as we move food around the world, are we actually rewarding those countries who are adopting regenerative practices and then selling those goods competitively in different parts of the world? Are we starting to look at what are the implications of using less water, using less inputs? Are countries being rewarded for much better climate smart practices? So I think we need to work, organizations like the WTO and other organizations need to look at how we incentivize the system to change. And that won't be done by one player alone.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.